These are breaking inputs coming in of the hearing that has been on. Chidambaram himself is speaking in court in his defense. Chidambaram hearing there where the judge wanted to hear directly from him. So he has spoken out in his defense, saying that he has answered everything. He has specifically mentioned instances on which he was summoned and called in for questioning, saying all has been answered. This is, of course, directly reacting to the charges that the CBI continues to trade against him, that he's being evasive. Our deputy news editor, Meenakshi Bhanja, getting us those inputs here. Yes, Meenakshi, please go ahead.
Turn of events, the judge wanting to hear directly from Mr. P. Chidambaram himself. Remember, it was Abhishek Manu Singhvi in the course of arguments who told the judge that my client, Mr. P. Chidambaram, is here. You can ask him any question whatsoever, which was sharply objected to by the solicitor Tushar Mehta, who was present in the court. Mr. Tushar Mehta, in the midst of his rejoinder arguments there as we speak, but the judge clearly wanting to hear from Mr. P. Chidambaram, which is why Mr. P. Chidambaram got this opportunity to speak to the judge. And as we are in the midst of arguments, Seher, this is real-time developments as it is happening inside the courtroom. Mr. P. Chidambaram telling the special CBI judge this, Seher, he goes on to say, ask for the transcript of 6/6/2018. Please look at the questions and answers. I have answered everything. This is what Mr. P. Chidambaram has just told the special CBI judge. As we speak, he's asking for the judge to peruse through the documents of 6/6/2018, match the questions to what the CBI wants to ask him now, and check his replies, saying that he has replied to everything. This is a departure from normal proceedings here, because remember, as we have just broken that solicitor Tushar Mehta, the top law officer of the Government of India, sharply objecting to having an interface between Mr. P. Chidambaram and the judge himself. After Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi told the judge that my client is present here, you can ask him whichever questions you want to, if you wish to. And the judge taking up that offer, and Mr. P. Chidambaram just moments back making this submission, telling the judge to ask for the transcript dated 6/6/2018, Seher.
Right, Meenakshi, given the fact that these are specifics now that the judge himself asked to hear from Chidambaram himself, because the CBI has continued to maintain that he's not answering questions. Kapil Sibal, his counsel, said that he's being asked the same 12 questions again and again, which he's answered before. So Chidambaram actually challenging the counter to this here, saying, you checked the documents of the 6th of June 2018. What is it that I haven't answered? The allegation was never put forth here to me. So Meenakshi effectively here wanting to say in this argument, Chidambaram and his legal team, that the CBI doesn't have enough questions to grill him on, based on which they have continued to push for custodial interrogation.
Well, that's right, Seher. You're right, absolutely right. Even the 5-day custody which the CBI is viewers earlier is something that is going to be sharply contested, and it is being sharply contested as we speak. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, at his finest, when he goes on to say as to how this is just a pretext to want to ask Mr. Chidambaram a repetitive set of questions. Abhishek Manu Singhvi also telling the court as to how, and I quote, I will not answer. I will answer as I think is fit and not to satisfy you. That is not non-cooperative, unquote. So that was also one of the arguments of Abhishek Manu Singhvi. And as we speak, where the orders of the judge on the CBI's plea to seek 5-day custody for Mr. P. Chidambaram have been reserved. So we are awaiting outcome on this one, how the judge has processed this. But clearly, very high-stake hearing where we have seen some very determined arguments being placed by both sides. Tushar Mehta, the top law officer of Government of India for CBI, and on the other hand, Mr. Kapil Sibal and Abhishek Manu Singhvi arguing the case of Mr. P. Chidambaram.
Right. So have the arguments ended now? Are we awaiting a decision on this?
Well, yes, absolutely, sir. The arguments have concluded as we speak. The matter stands reserved, and we will learn in a short while on the pronouncement aspect of it. The judge will obviously need some time to process all these material facts that have been placed before the judge, and subsequent to that, we are looking at an outcome from the judge, how many days custody he eventually decides to grant to CBI, Seher.
Right. Meenakshi, let's also look at the other side in why the CBI has continued to push for custodial interrogation here. This is also keeping in mind on what the CBI has continued to maintain, that he hasn't answered, or his answers haven't been in the complete. He has been evasive. His answers have been clipped. Which is why we would be asking the same questions. We're seeking answers to those questions, and we think we would get those answers only when he's in custody.
Well, that's right, sir. You're absolutely right. Where the CBI has even gone on to state as to how Mr. Chidambaram has the potential to be evasive. Also, the CBI drawing a demarcation or a distinction between evasiveness and silence of Mr. Chidambaram. And then the CBI also going on to state this there, that there are certain set of questions which only Mr. Chidambaram can answer. So clearly for CBI, it is very, very important that a 5-day custody period is granted, which it is seeking for. But we have seen some very, very sharp rebuttals coming in from the likes of Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhi. And the big twist in the case has been where the judge is allowed for Mr. Chidambaram to address him directly, and Mr. Chidambaram asking for a transcript of 6/6/2018 to be perused through by the judge himself, so that the judge can actually take a noting of all the questions that CBI has asked him and the answers that he has responded with. Seher.
Right. Was there also an indication here that why the CBI needs him in custody? Because they would want to go through the process of putting him face to face to the other accused who have now turned approver, similar to what they had done with Karthi Chidambaram when he was in custody with for 11 days, being put face to face with Indrani Mukherjee based on what she's already indicated, that she was given the go ahead to be accepting more than permissible limit of FDI funds for establishing the INX News Media. Okay, we seem to have lost that line. We're going to continue tracking this in just a bit. Remember, the court reserves order on the CBI's plea, so we still need to hear a final word here on this, whether or not the CBI is going to be getting 5-day custody of the former union minister. Both arguments from both sides have concluded. Let's get to the focus on the big story this evening. This is regarding citizens of Bengaluru. Well, they're extremely annoyed at this point of time because development work in the city has come to a halt. The Bengaluru civic body's budget has been put on hold. Chief Minister Yadurappa has put the BBMP's budget on hold, saying that the budget was illegally passed because it did not have approval of the cabinet. As a result, projects have been stalled, roads are not being repaired, garbage not being collected in the city. Over 50 infrastructure projects commissioned there since the month of May have now been put entirely on hold.
Commuted to this office here at Salarpuria, I feel like it's the worst condition ever. Like when it rains, though, it is not at all possible to just crossing a road. It will be like 15-20 minutes. It's very bad condition.
Yeah, it's very horrible. Very horrible. In average, where it used to take about 1.5 hours, it takes almost double, 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah. Of course, Bangalore people are suffering a lot because, see, this budget has been approved by the previous government in the month of May. In fact, the council had sent the budget in the month of March. So during this election time, they had not cleared it. Anyway, they had cleared the budget in the month of May. And consequently, job courts also started and the execution also started. And the first time in the history of the BBMP, the present government has held the budget for no reasons. The person who cleared the budget himself. See, one man cannot issue two orders, saying that one time he says the budget is cleared, you can go ahead and execute. The other time he's saying the budget has to take some approval from the cabinet. That was not.
ಈಗಾಗಲೇ 2-3 ದಿನದಿಂದ ಕೌನ್ಸಿಲಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ವಿಶೇಷ ಸಭೆ ನಡೆಯಿತು. ಆ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ BJP ಶಾಸಕರು ಕೂಡ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, CM ನಾವು ಕೂಡ CM ಅವರೊಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 2-3 ದಿನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದೇನು ಬಜೆಟಿಗೆ ಅಪ್ರೂವಲ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನು ಅನುಮೋದನೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ. ಖಂಡಿತ 2-3 ದಿನದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೂಡ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಎಮರ್ಜೆನ್ಸಿ ವರ್ಕು, ಡೈಲಿ ರೊಟೀನ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಇದು ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೂ ಅಡೆತಡೆ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸದ್ಯದವರೆಗೂ. ಇನ್ನು 2-3 ದಿನ ನಾವು ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಖಂಡಿತ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ ಮಾಡಿ, ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೂ ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕರಿಗೆ ಕೆಲವು ಕೆಲಸಗಳು ಆಗೋದು ನಿಂತಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ಆಗಲೇಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋ ಒಂದು ಇದಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಫಾಸ್ಟಾಗಿ ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದೇನಿದೆ ಬೇಗ ಮುಗಿಸಿ ಅದು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಮಗೆ ಅನುಮೋದನೆ ಸಿಗಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಉದ್ದೇಶ.
Let's get in further inputs. Our correspondent Neha getting us those details here. Neha, this has already been much delayed, as we heard the BBMP official speaking that this was to be passed in March. It was held up because of the entire process of general elections, and then with the state government, which was the earlier state government, which was facing the crisis, the budget session, which was an entire washout because of that crisis. And now you have the new chief minister as well, putting all the funds on hold. He has formed his own cabinet after 20 days of being sworn in. So how much more of a delay are we looking at for this budget?
Well, it's most unfortunate that within, between all of this political tussle and this tussle for power that's really been going on in Karnataka, it is the common man that's had to suffer the most. Now, we're talking about the BBMP, the civic body, which is unable to function to its full capacity. Why? Simply because the funds are put on hold. Now, we're not questioning the motive of the BJP government in Karnataka putting the budget on hold. What we're questioning is the inordinate delay in clearing this budget. Now, do remember that most of the development works across the city have come to a standstill. It is the peak of monsoon right now. Rains have started to lash the city. We're talking about all sorts of development work that's taken a hit. That's one. And secondly, and most importantly, we're talking about projects that were begun that have currently been put on hold, that have only been completed to a half extent or to, a little lesser than that as well. So these are the issues that ideally lie right now ahead of the BBMP. And we did, of course, get in a word from the mayor over here who said that they are going to be meeting the Chief Minister, Mr. B.S. Yediyurappa, shortly once he comes back. He is expected to arrive in the city tomorrow evening, after which a delegation would be meeting him. But at this point of time, do remember that also the Congress corporators have threatened to even, in fact, boycott the council sessions. And they've even threatened to protest at this point of time if funds are not released. Because the crux of the matter here is simple. Yes, the BJP government pointed out some irregularities that existed within, of course, the BBMP itself, and some irregularities with respect to some of the tenders that were called for by the previous government. But at the same time, it is imperative to remember that the cabinet expansion in itself took as long as 20 to 24 days after the chief minister was sworn in. So we are asking as to how much longer would the government really require to be able to constitute a ministry, to be able to, assign a Bangalore development minister and then get the approval of the cabinet for this very budget.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it is the people that have to take the hit, and people of the state have had enough. We've
That's
spoken
right.
to citizens,
We're going to be getting in more citizens' voices here on this in just a bit, Neha, but also getting a word here from the ruling party. Mr. Satish Reddy, BJP MLA, with us over the phone line. Mr. Reddy, thank you for being with us. This is an unfortunate delay for work that needs to be done by the BBMP on ground, and now that budget is being put on hold. How much more longer should the people of Bengaluru wait?
No, madam, it's wrong information. Actually, 8 months back, budget has been done from the BBMP. From day one, they have some problem because 9,000 crores was the budget, but they approved for 13,000 crores. 4,000 crores was debit. So that was the issue from last 6-7 months. Previous government also didn't approve the budget. So just our government came back 15 days back, and we are already given to the chief minister whatever happened before, and we are completely explained to chief minister. And maybe next cabinet, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, the budget will be approved, madam. This is the exact thing. Actually, if some people are telling, opposition people are telling, in a different way means that will not correct. Actually, from 6 months it was pending. Now just after our new government, just it is pending from last 15 days. That's it, madam. Maybe tomorrow, after tomorrow, the new cabinet
Mr.
meeting
Reddy,
will happen.
Mr. Reddy, maybe you will need to understand this better. You
please,
think
madam.
that we are misunderstood this, but it's very clear. The chief minister saying here that it was approved by the previous coalition and there was no cabinet in place in the month of May, which is why it was illegal and therefore it's been put on hold.
No. Actually, previous government not approved from the cabinet, madam. That is the real thing, actually. Now, already we have placed in front of Chief Minister. Now a new cabinet came. Day after tomorrow or tomorrow will be the cabinet meeting. In the cabinet meeting, it will be 100% clear. Bangalore BBMP budget will be clear, madam. Already we are in touch with the Chief Minister office and we are follow up in that, madam.
So what's going to happen at the cabinet meeting? Do we have portfolio allocation of all the ministers already?
No, that will not come, madam. Entire the Chief Minister will be held the cabinet meeting. He will sign that, madam. No portfolio issue and all for this budget. He has told very clearly that within next cabinet meeting it will be clear.
Okay, now that we finally have a cabinet in place after 20 days of the new chief minister already, there has been no portfolio allocation. We don't have ministers for each portfolio, but there's an insistence. The BJP is saying it's going to be passed in 2 days now. Let's get in a word here from Mr. Brijesh Kalappa of the Congress with us over the phone line. Brijesh, thank you for being with us. This has been shot down, saying that the previous approval to the BBMP budget was illegal. There was no cabinet in place, and now they're going to be giving the go-ahead again, having stopped the budget temporarily.
No, I think the first thing one has to realize is that we are in the midst of an extremely heavy monsoon. And we all know how monsoon has affected the normal life in the city. Roads are very, very badly affected. These are the first casualties in any monsoon. And this is not only for the BJP regime, it's been for the Congress regime, for any other regime. It's always been that the roads are the first casualty. At a time like this, if funds are not released to ensure that people are not hurt and that, if roads are affected, then there has to be some repair work which has to be done, some work in regard to ensuring that commuters move peacefully. I don't know when else you can have a situation where money is more required. And at a time like this, if you're going to starve the city of funds and you're going to give various reasons, first of all, the question is, which everybody is asking in the city, if there was such a tearing hurry for you to form a government, right, and then they kept taunting the Congress and the JDS, saying that, look, the government is, they're taking so much of time in their confidence vote and so on and so forth, then why the delay now? Why the delay to first have a set of ministers? Why the delay for a portfolio? And why this kind of delay? Then where was the great tearing hurry to come and...
Right, Brijesh, so the argument here from the BJP being that now that they finally have a cabinet after 20 days of the new chief minister being sworn in, the BJP says they don't need portfolio allocation now to clear the budget. The chief minister will have a meeting with the cabinet and the budget will be cleared.
No, I'm sorry, but the chief minister has had 4 cabinet meetings by himself. So why could this not have figured in one of those meetings? The chief minister has not been, only having a cabinet meeting with his cabinet colleagues. Even singly he has had cabinet meetings. He's had 4 of them. So where was the difficulty to include this also in the cabinet meeting and to pass it?
Mr. Reddy, please respond to that. Why no urgency having been shown earlier? Now that things are beginning to show on how things are suffering on ground, you're saying that it will be passed in 2 days. Why was there no urgency shown to this earlier?
I'm asking him, last from 6 months, why the last coalition government didn't approve the BBMP budget? Now why they are very hurry? Within 10-15 days they are telling to make us very urgently, but these people, why didn't they approve last 6 months back? They should understand.
So, Mr. Reddy, you don't think that you need to show the urgency? Mr. Reddy, you don't think that the state BJP government needs to show the urgency here for the sake of the people instead of arguing this out with the Congress?
We are very responsible for Bengaluru people. We are already with the Chief Minister meeting yesterday. We were in the meeting and we informed about the present things. Next cabinet meeting within 1 or 2 days, madam. 100% it will be approved. You can call me after 2 days and you can ask me directly, madam. It's our promise.
So, Mr. Reddy, 2 more days the people will have to wait for a go-ahead for road repair to be done. For 2 more days, the people will have to wait for garbage to be picked up. For 2 more days, people will have to wait for water to be cleared out in waterlogged areas. It's just 2 more days.
New thing, new works, madam. It is not an old works. It is a new works for this year and next year and another year. 3 years budget they are made in this year. Last meeting also very clearly we told in the BBMP meeting that budget will be approved. I only went to the BBMP and I explained everything, and Commissioner also explained to the BBMP, including corporators and to the mayor also. We are very clear, within 1 or 2 days, it will be 100% approved, madam. You know the procedure. In the cabinet, it should be approved. Again, we should not do the wrong thing. So, day after tomorrow, cabinet meeting will be there. Within that 100%, it will be approved,
okay.
madam.
Let's see if the people of Bengaluru can show that patience, as you're magnanimously putting it across that it's only a question of 2 more days and the budget will be cleared, work will happen on ground. Ms. Priya Rajgopal, citizen with us over the phone line. Priya, thanks for being with us. Can you keep patience for 2 more days with an assurance that the government will clear the budget? Of course, there has been much delay, but only a question of 48 more hours.
I would just put it across to you very simply. Do we have a choice? I don't think we do. It's not just 2 more days. It's been going on for the last few months. There have been many things. Either it's code of conduct with the national elections, then there's been this whole infighting, then, the complete drama at the assembly we have seen, for the last 23 days ago. So we've actually had a really bad few months as citizens of Bangalore. And you must also know, as far as really engaged citizenry is concerned, I think Bangalore is really very high up on the list. We really all, as citizens, are trying very hard in different groups to do whatever we can. So this kind of, huge gaps, the bureaucrats are definitely also trying their bit. We have a good chief secretary. We have many other good people working in the government. But this political change has caused a huge impact. I've had white topping on roads that have been left halfway through. Whether it's good or bad is a different issue. We've got, tenders for animal birth control, which have been pending for months, which are decided, which can't be taken off.
Right.
So while it's only 2 days away, and I really do agree with the gentleman who was there before me, I'm sorry, I was not able to understand who it was, that yes, 2 more days, of course we can wait. We waited for so long. But my ask right now is, it's not our fault or perhaps even the bureaucrats' fault that this has happened. It's the political engine that has caused it. I actually, very firmly and resolutely ask the political machinery now, who have kept the citizenry on hold for so many months, to do double time, to make up for the amount and, volume of worry and anxiety and city destruction that it has caused. Don't forget we're in the middle of a monsoon. Don't forget there are floods in Karnataka. And they should really make up double time, triple time for the next few months to say, we've
absolutely
let you down.
Mr. Reddy, very quickly, please respond to that. There should have been more urgency, and now that you say only 2 more days, but you would require the BBMP to be working on a war footing on all fronts because there has been so much of a delay, because there has been no urgency showed on this.
What I'm telling you, just last word, see, the 9,000 crore was the budget. The 4,000 crores was increased, was the problem for the last government also. Who will give the funds for that 4,000 crore? That was the issue. That issue has been cleared now. Very clearly, the government will pay the 4,000 crores.
Okay, so what is the issue that has been cleared? So we're looking at a short-down of 4,000 crores in the budget. You're going to be clearing only 9,000 then?
No, it will be 100%, 13,000 crore, whatever they have done. The entire thing will be there, and remaining, whatever the excess amount was there in the budget, that will also allocated from the government of Karnataka, madam.
All right. So why are you arguing the figures if you have no problem with the figures? The delay that has been caused and the new government that should have been showing the urgency. Many thanks for speaking to us. Other voices as well who've got us that information. Our correspondent Neha with those inputs here as well. 2 days time is what we've been assured. In 2 days, we would have the Karnataka government pass that budget, get the work going there on ground by the BBMP. This is in an exclusive interview with the Times Network. The Chief Economic Advisor, Krishnamurthy Subramanian, has called for a mindset change in the private sector. He's asked the private sector to refrain from the tendency to grab profit, socialize losses in times of stress. Now, these comments coming in amidst increasing criticism by analysts, economists about the issues plaguing economy.
This message of basically private sector cannot have a situation of private profits and socialized losses. I think that needs to basically move on. We need to move on. We are a market economy. In a market economy, assets do get reallocated when somebody doesn't, let's say, manage the asset very well. Reallocation needs to happen. There are sectors that basically go through sunrise and then have a sunset. And sunset sectors, basically, there are, reallocation happens. These are important aspects. So the private sector also needs to recognize that, the mindset needs to change from basically as whenever you actually are, let's say, having a difficulty, keep going, keep crying, basically running to Papa, to basically, saying, Papa, bacha do mujhe, that needs to also change. I think that's an important mindset change.
Well, with that, it is a wrap on the show on The Big Story. Thanks for being with us.